deal with the silent it was happened. The one advantage they do have is the the Swiss Fatal, the Destiny, to make sure he can roam and impact these skirmishes, because when I look at the Ion side right now, if Styx doesn't get caught out here from the invade, it is a very easy comp to play. It is a very easy one to execute. You throw out the ult, you CC someone, you hit the front line. That's all you do. You just play front to back over and over again, and they will win that case because they do have the Soraka, they do have the double tanks.
There's so much range, so much tankiness for the Soraka to get multiple cycles off that cooldown as well. Gonna be the Summon a Heal coming out as the option, so a full ambulance Soraka for sure. No exhaust on either end to deny some of these hyper carries, but 87% of you believing that Antic should take out the W here, and I'd say that's a fair estimate so far into this one, based on the last 2-0, based on that last series. And from really what we've seen so far in the playoffs.
Mission Impossible Coley here ran into the jungle, is hiding in the wolf pit. Is he going to steal away this camp with Smite and try to contest Borrow on the blue buff, or is he just going to run away the moment he steals this camp? I'm not sure how fast he clears this one, or if they even know that they left their bot side, Skimmy. This is a very interesting start from both sides.
Yeah, Tom Cruise does look a little bit different these days, hiding out in the enemy bush, just waiting to see what he can do, saying, hello, I've taken your wolf camp, you smited away your blue buff, you know what? Mission failed, but that's all right.
He got a camp. It's still a win in the end, right? He's going to walk away. All of a sudden, if Foreigner doesn't want to invade, re-invade that bot side because he doesn't have priority on the bot side of the map, he doesn't really get anything out of that, right? So that's the level 4 going to be denied to Foreigner, which is, not very nice as these mages. It's really important to get that, gold base that you really want. You want to get that the 1,000 gold base, get towards your item, but this time, denying that camp will mean a little bit of a tempo denial in the early game for Foreigner.
Yeah, it certainly will do. Let's see if it actually adds up to anything of real substance, because as to be expected, it will be Zornish that pushes out the wave of the Cassante. A nice little counter in that isolated 1v1. We talked at great lengths already just how strong this Ion 2v2 should be on top of that. And the fact that Jovi, any given opportunity, he's going to really make sure that Raze is not having a fun time.
Yeah, and also something to note, when this level 3 does come through from the bot side, there is a lot of gank threat onto the Soraka, right? So Hexflash needs to respect the potential combo if they do not know where Foreigner is, because there is that kill threat. And if Colleague's not in the back pocket, expect some action happening on the bot side, because I really doubt they're going to play this 2v2 on the bot side as an extended lane. They really didn't want to deal with what's going to happen in this lane. But also something to note is that Styx did go for the comment, so this could just be the laning rune, Skibby, because I'm not really sure if Lethality Virus is viable anymore. I haven't seen it being played besides the on-hit variation. So I think that the lethality build is nice to have into that team, but maybe it's just not to play anymore.
Well, to wait and see as the game does materialize itself, as we do have this early game under wraps. Let's check in with Katsuri from the side of Direwolves to get his thoughts on what this matchup should entail. Believes it should go all the distance, all 3 games, with Antic still being the winners. So they're just a better team overall, very much stronger individually. But like a lot of people have echoed, a lot of the expert opinions has all been around what can Jovi get accomplished. So that really is what we're going to be keeping our eyes on, as bot lane is where we're at right now. Destiny copying a lot of aggression in retaliation, and will find himself down to 50%.
And that's the nice thing about Barrier, right? This is such a low cooldown rune, so you can use that one to trade with. We see Destiny just blocking out the WQ damage, where that's a lot of Varus' damage in the game, right? So being able to deny that one and stay in lane, stay on a healthy amount of HP is very nice. But I also thought what Coley did was surprising. He decided to go to his bot side and clear that when it was protected from that mid bot side priority, and almost lost his top side because of that one. So very nice that he was able to get that red in time before Foreigner walked in and stole that one, but is going to end up losing his camp. But he is walking on that bot side, and this could be a potential gank.
He's going to see what he can find as a result. He's going to realize that, look, it's not theirs. The ward does reveal that, so questions himself, well, where do I go now? Because there are literally no camps on the bottom half of this map. Is it a gank angle, or is it simply a case of resetting? Gets baited a few times, cancels that recall once, cancels it the second time. Is now getting pinged. Just cut mids. Both mids, they just stand and deliver. A battle of whose attack speed is faster, and Raze wins by just a smidge.
And he looks very happy with that one. Was surprised they decided to jump in, but that's the power of the Corki E-change, right? So a lot of the armor shred is it happens quickly now. It doesn't happen over time. You get that. It happens, I think, in the, I would say, straight away, 2 seconds rather than 4 seconds. So that's the nice thing about Corki. His orders are doing more damage in those trades, and the explosive shot doesn't do enough damage on the end there. We do see Coley trying to steal away this camp. Gonna, recognize his Foreigner did start topside from where he did invade, so can steal away his respawn on the bot side. Just wants to create some volatility for this card, this path, to make sure that, if he isn't on top of the ball, his level 6 is being delayed.
But look how rough this is for Doraemon, right? We've seen this so many times during the regular split where Izorinus, as one of the most keen to lock this matchup in, has just proven time and time again. If you go for the blind Cassandra, you're not going to get away with it as easily as you did in the past. Double the CS at this stage and a very crippled HP bar, already forcing out 6 minutes into the game, a TP back to lane. I want to talk about Skinergy. Look, we always talk about the Corki and we say, what is your opinion on that one there, Tally? But on this occasion, let's look at the bot lane. Whilst their skins might not match, they're both wearing hats.
Oh, true. That's a very nice thing. Skinergy outside of the game with the hat matching. I didn't even notice that was a good call out, but we do see Raze is using the Corki. And I know, I've had this conversation with him. And he agreed with me. He agreed with me, so I don't know.
He's doing it to spite you now.
Yeah,
surely.
He's doing 100% to do that, Skimmy, you're right. We're going to have words. We're going to have words after this series. But also, something to note is that we do see Styx going for the lethality virus. So we finally get to see what this champ looks like after the change. You know, can it still do that damage? It is going to still, you know, have that extra ability haste for the change of corruption to be on a lower cooldown, which is probably the, you know, the main look for this. But, you know, maybe this damage doesn't stick. You know, maybe, you know, he does land that ult and he all of a sudden you can't one-shot these squishy champions. And after that point, you know, he's not really doing any damage, not having a lot of threat onto champions like the Corki, who does have the Ninja Tabbies already at this point in the game, which really swings this mid lane matchup.
I guess it really does put you on a bigger timer than you would have had beforehand, right? We had a little bit of luxury of nobody having enough armor to mitigate all that lethality. Nowadays, it would seem as if, well, if you haven't snowballed, then you really are in trouble. And even more of a gamble as to making sure the Soraka pairing finds some success in this early 2v2. Draco just biding his time, finds an opportunity to then go for the headbutt pole bump to Hex Flash, and that really is it, right? So frustrating for him. I'm sure more than anything it's a case of let me get to level 6, luxury item be it my tier 2 boots, and then I'm on the roam, and then I'm ganking elsewhere.
Yeah, uncontested Grub's going with the Foreigner, so he is going to find that level 6 pretty early. Is just sitting on the top side of the map. Right now they are playing that split map, but there is no gank pressure for Ion onto this Ezreal Alistair. They do not have any CC minus the Varus ult, but it's quite a hard one to land onto an Arcane Shift Ezreal. Have to see. Does land, Skimmy.
Oh, yes it does. Destiny's in troubles. Burn the Arcane Shift, burn the Flash, burn the barrier, burn everything, and he will not survive. Styx needs a single auto, and that's what he'll find. Draku, forget about it. We only wanted you carry. And now that is a very, very hindered Ezreal.
Yeah, just a really nice silence coming out of Hex Flash means that that last second he could not use the Arcane Shift, so he does throw that one out, but it's not in time. But another jump forward mid. A bit of a chunk, Skimmy. And even though that we do see Raze with the Ninja Tabbies, Jovi is still doing really good in the 1v1. You know, look at the inventories right now. There's a huge gold differential when it comes to the combat power in the mid lane, but Tristana's just doing so well in these trades.
Certainly is, yeah, really keeping that in their favor. And I mean, it's just classic Jovi, isn't it? Always going to be aggressive, doesn't really matter what the matchup is looking like. Is he going to change his playstyle? And I think this is his luxury, knowing that it's a passive affair because it is a Carfish jungle. Isn't going to gank me. Who else is going to look to try and gank me? Well, definitely not the Twisted Fate until he's had an opportunity to shop up and find a little bit of power, and certainly not that of the Alistair until level 6 is there. But those are those breakpoints we've hit now, so whilst he has the luxury, he's going to continue to push in this wave and actually net himself one turret plate.
Yeah, easy as that. Constantly have priority in the bot lane is so important. Destiny has some free time, so he's roaming towards the mid lane. Gonna do a little bit of a chunk onto Jovi here.
Yeah, really nice damage though, but it's actually just straight away received and, you know, triaged by Hex Flash. Gives him a cheeky little heal, says I'm on my way now. And business as usual.
It's just nice that they went for that roam because now Raze can base it. This is the cannon wave coming out, so he does have that extra bit of time to get back to mid wave before he misses the minions, because I expect Jovi to stay here, crash this wave as fast as possible, and you know, deny as much CS as he can. But this is not going to be the cannon wave, so this one is going to crash very fast, Skimmy, and we do see Raze running back to mid lane. Does have the tier 2 boots though, so he does get back to lane, you know, faster than usual. So it's going to be just the usual, you know, 1 to 2 minions that he will miss in experience, and that's why you see so many players basing on that wave before the cannon wave, because the tower will focus that cannon minion and it takes so long to die, so you end up, you know, not missing any experience if you do base on those timers.
Yeah, it's nicely timed. This does give you that leeway to not feel as if you're missing out on too much, not having to take those risky trades where you've got little to no HP and you're like, but I really need this to get that next item spike. He's going to be held then by Raze. Hex Flash still on the rotation, holding mid for the meantime, and there to protect Coley as well on his own side of the jungle as Foreigner threatens from the river. You wouldn't really expect too much to come off this one. Foreigner has already gone towards those 3 grubs and claimed that for their side. Iron having gone for the very first Drake. So once again, another clear example of teams playing to opposite ends. But I think on this occasion it would make sense, right? Obviously, Antic's topside is winning very heavily. As for Iron, you would say that they've got the edge in the bot lane so far.
The lane swap is coming out for Iron, so they do want to fight this one. This is the ult coming out. There's no TP for Doraemon right now, but there is the Destiny's giving.
There is the Destiny, a Destiny upon Destiny. So how much of a tongue twister is that going to be there? Hexflash is in trouble. Pops literally every heal he can muster, but it's just simply not enough, Tally. Out comes the Requiem. No wish to save you. Stick stands because he knows he's a sitting duck and that he is dead. And then Coley on the tail end thinks, can I get away? Draku says maybe not. And it's a 3-man collapse, but there's no wave.
Draku doesn't have the ult here, so this might be a difficult dive, especially with the ambulance coming out of base in Hexflash. They're going to respect that one, not go for it. Foreigner picks up the 6 grubs for his team, though, and we look at the comp of the Corki on the side lane, the Twisted Fate on the side lane, and what they can do to these towers if left alone, especially Zorinus in this matchup against the K'Sante. But going back to the replay, it's so important to note here that Jovi's on the mid wave. He's not grouped. We see that there is no TP for the K'Sante yet. It's not a cooldown. We see all the members of Antic grouped up, True Shot Barrage coming out of base, and they are ready to fight this one. They do know the objective that they want to go for, and they were here on time, whereas Ion wanted to contest it as well, but they were just a bit slow on the movement.
Yeah, a little bit staggered, a little bit all over the show, and unfortunately fell into the trap that Antic had put together, saying we'll rotate first, we'll group up better, and we'll guarantee that we get all 6 of those objectives in our back pocket. And that's going to be so frustrating to deal with, because obviously in isolation, double AD carry feels fantastic, but Zorinus being as annoying as he has been so far in these side lanes, those towers are always going to be under threat, and Doraemon's going to be having his work cut out for him trying to match that with a TP too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might see, Raze continue to match Doraemon on the side lane just because that allows him, the easy matchup, and he is able to scale in that 1v1, and they're going to constantly put Zorinus into Zovi because you can't really do anything to the Twisted Fate, right? He's just going to jump in, couple gold cards to the head and walk away. And as the time does go on, one of the really annoying things about the AD Twisted Fate is the fact you're kind of forced to build Merc against this champion. Even though he is auto attack base, he is going to be doing so much AD damage. If you do go for those tabbies, you're just locked up in that CC chain for so long with the gold cards, and you kind of die in that one rotation of the stun. So it's just really annoying to verse, and the fact you have to build Merc Treads against AD carry is a very hard thing to deal with.
Doesn't feel nice, does it, when you got 3 AD carries to go into and you're thinking, why have I found myself in this situation? Look, you know what? I said I wanted Zeri top lane. I guess Twisted Fate is that half-baked answer as a consolation prize, right? But it's going to be very annoying because you can see that Iron grouped up as many members for to try and take that Drake. They just simply lost the tower on the top lane as a result, and that's going to only get harder and harder to contend with as this game does go on, because look how much gold he already has.
Yeah.
Nobody is close.
Yeah, and that's really the nice thing about Twisted Fate is he does get a lot of gold from his passive. So you time that with the fact that he is getting the counter pick, he is getting the place, he does have 6 grubs, he does get a lot of gold from his passive, so he's just making money. This is just the Bitcoin top laner, right? He's generating all this extra gold, and I think that Antic have done enough to circumnavigate this team comp differential we're going to see. And I think the main power spike for this team of Antic is the rapid fire cannon coming out of Zorinus, and when that one does come online, we're going to see him probably group up a lot more than he is and really start to throw these gold cards at members like Styx and Hexflash who do not have any cleanses right now. They don't have a way to deal with the CC and the potential follow-up coming out of Antic because they have a lot of damage, but their only setup is going to be Zorinus.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying, right? Rapid fire cannon, then you got the double Triforce to come out as well from both Raze and Destiny, and at that point you're thinking, yeah, we're fighting all day, every day. Probably the biggest winner would be Foreigner, right? Nice, cruisy, stable early game, 1-0-1, already on that first completed item, double buff as it stands, and he just gets to continue to farm up a storm on Vision and says, who dares contest me?
This is like, Foreigner isn't even playing League of Legends, right? He's playing an MMORPG. He's just clearing the jungle, he's running up to camps, fighting the monsters, dodging the abilities. He's not even playing League at this point, but
he's got a full quest log. He's ready to hand it all in for the XP.
Does have a full quest log, but we are seeing Ion group up as 5, wanting to contest this Herald, and we talk about how this team prioritizes objectives so much more than Antic, so all members strong here. Might even see Antic just, be like, alright, you guys can have this objective, we don't really care, but they are grouping up and Jovi is jumping in.
Yeah, Jovi wants to really make sure that Zorinus is zoned away, commits the flash to follow. Really well done. That is solo kill number 8 for the star of playoffs so far. Jovi, whilst that laning phase 1v1 into Raze was very, very close, he says we can't continue to bleed. We need to make sure that the snowball is tamed for the meantime.
This will be an even trade for both sides, just based on Jovi getting that kill on the top lane. They get the objective, they trade out of towers. Jovi is the winner here, right? He does get the extra 300 gold and experience for himself, and this is so important that Ion do pick up that winning side laner in the Tristana, because as long as they win the side lanes, I'm not too worried about Ion, really struggling in the team fight department with the comp they have prepared, even though we're still not too sure about this lethality virus and what he's really going to do. They have a lot of CC, and we all know that the Tristana is enough damage to really deal with the enemy team.
I think the concern above all else is the fact that if Iron aren't always attending to these lanes, look what they can do. Raze can just chip away at this tower, do far more than what Iron can do in retaliation, and it's just more and more map control being afforded to them. Rapid fire cannon is already there. That's the third tower in their possession. 3 kills so far. Not the bloodiest affair. Very much more meticulous in its nature as to rotating at the right time and getting the objectives to give yourself that better late game fighting avenue. But Jovi, always keen, doesn't care where you are, doesn't have vision. No vision, and he's going in.
Poor Doraemon, he just walked the ball in and catch some farm, but Jovi's like, no, this is my lane now. You base and go top. I am going towards the objective all the time. But I think that is the correct place, Gimme. I think having your strongest member on the objective is very important. But we look at Ion right now on the map. They're all on the top side. We see the TP coming out from Raze on the bot side. We see the bot lane of, ANC who got the priority on the mid lane walking out already, and Jovi is caught out on a 1v4.
Jovi's in trouble. That you are flanked from Draku. Where you're going, you can be as aggressive as you like, but eventually it will come crumbling down. You will be taken and forced to go back to base for 30 whole seconds. And I was going to say, I mean, this is a pretty perfect time for both teams to contest before things get a little bit too out of control, because everybody, bar the supports, have that first item done.
Yeah, and I'm going to play devil's advocate there, Skimmy. I don't think Jovi did anything wrong. I think that was the correct play for himself. The Ion group of 3, went to the top side and they were farming chickens as 3 members where they already knew where all the antic members were, and they could have got priority on the bot side or even some vision for Jovi, who had priority down there, but the ult is coming out, Skimmy.
Yeah, Chain of Corruptions onto Foreigner, instant flash away. A lot of bursts coming out from Styx as to be expected. Bramble Smash, flash engaged by Coley, looking to try and take down Zorinus, but he's being a menace. The Equinox silence, not enough, because he can just simply sprint away from it. In goes Doraemon, knocked away for the meantime. Jovi TPing in, fresh off that reset. And they say, well, how do we get in? Because we're just allowing Zorinus to space glide on us and get gold card after gold card.
Yeah, and Antica just playing their range. We see Ion going on to split members. Coley flashing onto, the Twisted Bait there when no one can really follow up. But the Rift Herald team, we talked about this one before.
Oh no, Coley, what is that? What is that? He's headbutted himself into the river, popped out, says, well, there you go, have a kill for Destiny. He'll like that one too to his name. Requiem to pop their HP bars low. Doraemon to TP back in again to that mid lane as they gear up to contest or at least defend in a 4v5.
Yeah, and this seems to be the story of the, I think the top teams in the LCO right now really like to do this thing, Skimmy. They like to keep the first 2 dragons, prioritize grubs, prioritize experience and gold, work up to the 3rd one and just out-muscle them or out-wallet them, right? They just have more items, they're just a bit stronger when it comes to this extra team fight on the 3rd dragon, and doesn't matter if you're going to stack dragons when all of a sudden they're going to reverse stack all these dragons, and we know how damaging and how much movement around the map you can garner with all these air dragons you do get stacked up. And I think that's especially important for this team comp that Antic has. They are so squishy. They need the extra movement speed. They need the tempo to get around the map. They need to get Dracu in those flank positions. They need to make sure that Zorinus is grouped up as much as possible, and that extra movement speed is so helpful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be bonkers. I mean, you saw just how much of a range discrepancy was demonstrated in that last fight. You give them a little bit of extra movement speed on top of that, and it simply won't feel fair. But it is quite true in that regard, right? The better teams have just been saying, you know what, forget about those dragons. It doesn't matter. If we get the gold from doing better lane deployments, better pushes, better situations for the first 15, the grubs give us the gold to then say that you can't get that 3rd dragon. Once again, Jovi in the bot lane looking to get caught out of position. He initially jumps to safety, but only into the destiny of Zorinus, with Destiny there to help out as well, who does end up picking up the kill.
Destiny on top of Destiny again, but I think we're just seeing the same story, a huge disconnect between all the members and Jovi of Ion. Jovi's just always trying to pressure on the side, but no one is really covering it. No one's really with them, and either the team needs to make sure that hey Jovi, you need to back off. We do not have control mid lane right now, or Jovi needs to tell his team, guys, I want to play bot side. Make sure you're in my pocket. They just need to get back on the same page, and that was the same thing we saw in last team fight, right? They just were not on the same page when it came to those fights. And if this continues, Timmy, it's going to be a very easy game for Antic.
Well, it really will be, because they're going to shut down all their early game threats, and then their late game really won't come to fruition, right? It's going to be a pretty rough one for them to muscle their way back in, because we're fast approaching the 20-minute mark, and it's already Antic leading with 6,000 gold.
Yeah, and this has been a very nice time for Raze, I will say that. There's been a lot of pressure onto Jovi, but all of a sudden, Raze has just been farming up a storm. He's chovying against Jovi in the mid lane right now, so he has items. He is building towards his 3rd item. He does have those 10 jack stacks, I believe, so has an extra bit of damage from the rune. He is absolutely online on this Corki right now.
Yeah, it'd be a happy time to really beat any of these carries. Even Draco, I'm sure, because he just gets to run around the map, get told, look, you know, these guys are out of position. There's no pressure. There's no defense. It's easy access into that bot lane time and time again. He got so much vision control around it as well to allow that to work in their favor. But Baron, it's on the cards now, 20 minutes into the game. No doubt that's what Iron will be looking to try and prevent as well as protect. As everybody converges on the mid lane, there is the Nature's Grasp to lock in place a couple of members, but Draco just hits them with the Pulverize, says, no, you're not going in for that fight. Redemption dropped as the first item rushed here by Hexflash, just to keep the team topped up and healthy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what Iron were looking for there. It doesn't really seem like they're planning for anything, Simi. They're just grouping up and just spontaneous engages. We see that how easy it was for Draco to just absorb that one, pop the Unbreakable Will, and walk that one off. And then, you know, we do see Styx land the ult onto Foreigner, but the, you know, the arrow just didn't do any damage. Didn't even half health them. So, you know, I think this might be what we're going to see from this Varus. Maybe he felt he was forced to go into this build because, you know, the enemy comp is so squishy, they do outrange him, and he believes he can't auto-attack the enemy comp. But it just looks too weak, Skinny.
Yeah, it's not able to answer back with the same amount of power that this core here Ezreal can, right? I mean, they're mirrored, very close to being mirrored. Raze only a few stacks away from getting that tier to 360. But those two in particular, 2-item spike through, just out of control. Same could be said for Foreigner with the Leandries and the Blackfire Torch. And we already discussed just how strong Zoranus is individually. So all 4 carries, night and day in comparison to Ion, who are hoping they can get anything inside their jungle, but getting pushed further and further back.
Yeah, and with these items being completed, 2 items almost every single member of ANC, look how confident they feel to just walk in and muscle Iron out of their own jungle. You know, Collie being denied his camps, Foreigner getting even more golden experience is so good for the side of Antic, especially when Zoranus, you know, can get priority on that side lane against that Tristana, who's the only saving grace when it comes to this Iron comp right now, who is strong on the map. If he is able to get priority and group up, or if he is looking for that 1v1, as do you see Jovi jumping on the side lane, I believe?
He is jumping into the side lane, and he is committing. He gets the kill again, once more, onto Zoranus. Another solo kill. You certainly love to see it. A little bit of chance for him to showcase why he is so prevalent individually. There is the full engagement by Coley with the flash pounce on towards Raze. But it is his demise. He does fall on down. Foreigner says, you know what, I can go to the afterlife and still be impactful. Jovi TPing in topside, drops the Requiem. Bunny Hop resets with these rocket jumps, looking at Draco and says, you've got the ultimate. Do you want to pop it? Yes, you will. Pulverize doesn't deny it. Triple kill now for Styx. The Varus is coming online and nearly, and they do get it in the end.
Little mini red carpet going out the end, Skimmy, but what a play from Jovi. Finds that solo kill on the side lane. They go for the hard engage. Coley instantly dies. You know, we see how squishy he is. He is playing that front line, but all he is the ult. He falls down instantly, but does get that CC up onto Foreigner. Styx landing all these executes onto the enemy team, but there is damage from this Baron, but it's dying very slow, and you're going to see if Zoranus does pop in, so he's going to come on the top side. Look at the map. Look who's going to make it to this Baron first. We are seeing pretty even base timing or exits from each team right now, Skimmy, and this is going to come down to a flip. There will be no smite secure here.
This will be huge for Iron to get themselves back into the game. That last team fight was massive in isolation. Let's see what they can do then. 5k still is the difference between these two teams. Baron down to 3,500. Make it closer to smite range now. Hexflash to focus. Remove the Soraka. That's what Zoranus has done. Across the wall goes Dorimon. Knocked away by Draku. The Baron down to 1,300. Who gets smite? Foreigners there, but taken by Cole Lee before he dies. Clutch or kick the squishy Maokai. Gets it done again. But it will be a double found by Zoranus, and it will be a Baron removed off multiple.
There's still one nice thing about the Maokai, Skimmy, is this champ is extremely hard to outsmite. I would say if there was a tier list in League about the best smiting junglers, it goes Nunu, and then it goes Maokai. That Q smite, that percent health damage you do is so much damage, but let me hold my point, Draku's going in.
Draku is going in once again. Hexflash to start things off, and he falls very, very low. No ultimate, and incredibly squishy as well. Dorimon going all out, sniping apart Raze. And Ion, in this later half of this game, are starting to find some momentum.
Yeah, and, you know, we had a very quiet game, right? There wasn't a lot of action happening. We were seeing some team fights in the early game, but it was just, you know, oh, you can have that objective, you can have that objective. 1 or 2 kills going down, but now we're finally getting into these full-on team fight and the action happening. And a lot of the items are starting to come forward for the Ion carries. You do see Jovi going for that Bloodthirst as third because there are so many squishy members of the enemy team, and you get to see how one-sided these 1v1s are when he catches people off guard. And Zoranus can't even do anything when he doesn't have that gold card prepared in advance.
Damage.
They do, you know, throw out that ult.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do throw out that ult. They do, you know, find this really nice engagement. Something to note is like how fast they do die going in there. The only real tank they have is Dorimon, who does such a good job to get Destiny back into the team, blow that flash, and find that reset for Jovi. Has that red buff, is able to keep going forward, but also got to note, this flash here with the phosphorus bomb to, you know, avoid that damage, and make sure he doesn't fall down to buy time for Hex Splash to get here. There's no reason they, won this fight and not the Baron.
It's a difference making. Yeah, all I was going to say is it's kind of comical that it's like, into the 1v1 against Zoranus, it's like, yeah, you can hit me with a gold card. If I just rocket jump and jump on your head as I get stunned, doesn't really matter. You're still going to die anyway. Does not care. Bloodthirster picked up though, so it's going to really help him out, especially with the Kraken as well as that Flicker Blade, making sure that he can be that much of a menace. And a much-needed Warmog's now picked up by Calder to try and make him just a little bit tankier.
This is a very squishy Maokai, regardless of what's going to happen. He isn't going to get, as much gold as we are seeing going into the pockets of Foreigner. All he's going to do, he's going to throw out that ult. He's going to hopefully CC up, one of the carries on the enemy team, because I don't feel like Draku's confident enough to block all of the, all those, Brambles are used to coming out for the entire team. It's just a bit too wide to deal with. But if he does, very good for him. But if they do land, then all you have to do is find one of these follow-up spells in the Varus ult or the K'Sante Kidnap and take that member out.
But I've done it before. Let's see if they can do it again. They've done a phenomenal job, have Ion, keeping this gold lead still at only touching distance with 5,000. That Baron buff still available on Doraemon, about to expire in just 20 seconds. But Antic is starting to really showcase their experience, their veterancy in terms of playing these lanes, utilising those grubs once again, and forcing Iron to stay back, keep their difference, and make sure that they can't really wrangle back control.
Yeah, and I think that the main difference you are seeing right now is Antic, they just look much more comfortable playing their side lanes, right? Even though you wouldn't really consider them stronger on the side lanes right now. I think that both the 1v1s would go in favor of the solo laners of Ion. They are finding just, better map movement, and the priority of mid lane is probably one of the major things. I think the Ezreal, while he is even with the items in Varus' inventory, he's just so much stronger and so much better at getting mid priority because there is no threat onto this member.
He's got the Sorelda's Grudge. I'm sure Styx somewhere is thinking, come on, mate, that's not the item for. We talked about it in these interviews with Tally. You must go Blade of the Rune King, but either way, Tilly is going to be a nice little addition. Another one to be worth mentioning is that Doraemon's also picked up the Locket, right? So, got a much more supportive style of K'Sante.
They hate Foreign in this game, Seeming. That's what I'm going to say. They pick Karthus and they've got Locket. They really do not like Karthus at all.
It's a bad time to be Foreigner. Or maybe it's not, because look how far ahead he is. He's keeping up pace with these solo laners. As the same amount of farm as Jody at this stage. That goes to Destiny, Requiem, everything, Chop, and that Styx. Whoa. You blink and you missed it. He was gone before you even had a chance to hit that flash. It was on cooldown anyway. Destiny getting keen as he just snipes apart Hex Splash. In jumps Doraemon, pops the Locket, tries to do what he can, but he's just not tanky enough. And the rampage of this war machine that is Antic is walk forward, hit a gold card, hit a pulverize, hit anything, and you die with in a global cooldown.
It's so hard to be on top of the ball all the time, Skinny, but when the ball does drop, Styx on that mid wave, contesting mid priority when there's no priority on that bot side of the map. Without his team means he falls down, and after that point, it's all lights out for his team because he is, one of those major disruption havers in these team fights, and one of the major reasons that they're able to team fight so easily on the Ion side is when he is alive. But the moment he falls down, all of a sudden, all they have to worry about is the Tristana, and they can just completely run at the enemy team and forego any threat. But this is a major mistake by Styx to walk up here like this when he's so split from his team.
You see, initially it's just a case of breaking the spell shield with a raise, and it's so easy, very easy picking for them to then pounce upon it afterwards. And Destiny, with pretty much reckless abandon, flashing in the face of a tank and saying, yeah, your support shouldn't be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Really easy pick up by him. The Hex Splash does hold his own Summer Style Flash there, so has that one for the next fight, right? There is still, that fighting distance for Ion to get back in this game, right? It's not over whatsoever. I think that with the these two objectives coming up right now, not going to be the sole point for either team, but still an objective they do want to take. But the Baron is the big one to me. I think that if Ion is able to secure this one, then they buy themselves that time to scale even more and get to the even bigger power spikes where Azurebi really needs these major items to deal damage to the enemy team. Because if you look at the inventories of the enemy team, we talk about how much money the Twisted Fate can make. We see 4 items being complete on the top side already. The Infinity Edge not usually one to talk about, but maybe this fight is going to be.
Maybe it certainly is, as Draku looks to try and lead the line so far. Doraemon tries to respond. Jovi taking a 1v1 into Destiny and saying, look, I've got these rocket jumps. I've got so much cooldown reduction. You dare not fight me. That's a massive shutdown going into his back pocket. On the flank then is Foreigner, and he gets picked apart. Out goes the Requiem. Draku misses the combo. The Requiem drops them and gets them down low, but Zoris is in the back line, TP'd in. It's the gold card flashing on forward, removes sticks for 50 seconds, turns his attention onto Coley, gets a double kill. Now wants Doraemon, wants that triple, wants that game-winning play, and he is just spacing things like you would not believe, and that might be the reason he's built that Infinity Edge.
And there it goes, Skimmy. Easy as that. We were talking about, maybe it's going to come down to the Baron, but no, they had a team fight over a cannon minion in the mid wave, and that is going to be the game going towards the side of Antics. So really a high execution comp that they brought out in game 1, but they had so much success that we rarely saw them falter. We rarely saw them get caught out without numbers advantage, and I think this game really came down to the fact Jakku and Destiny on that mid wave, shut down Jovi on the side lane, and there was just a disconnect on the side of Ion. They were not playing together as a team, and you cannot do that against such a good roster like Antic.
You certainly can't, because you will get punished, and that was evidenced on a number of different occasions, right? And Jovi no doubt will be asking for a little bit more attention, a bit more resources going into the next game, because he certainly was at many points in that game their shining beacon of hope. But the Skinergy outside of the game, yes, Destiny's removed the hat now, but that might have been the difference. You look good, you feel good, you just play good. And ultimately, with a triple AD carry comp, they bring it in